Hey everyone, and welcome to my first podcast, The Journal of a Huntsman. Now, for those who know me, thank you for tuning in, and for those who don't know me, thank you again for just checking this out. My goal in making this podcast is to kind of just talk about my thoughts, my ideas and ideals, my philosophy, and some current events. Make some jokes, make some people laugh, and hopefully help somebody out. And also at the end of the day, I'm really starting this podcast for me. I mean, it's taken a long time to get here, but I feel like it's finally time to really start this. I'm taking a step forward down a new road, and hopefully I'll be able to share some of what I learned with you all here. Now, I'm still working on a schedule for what this will all look like, but I'm hoping to do one podcast every 2 weeks. And when I get better and more efficient at doing this, I'll post more, hopefully getting down to about one podcast every week, one episode every week. But without further ado, let's begin. And let me tell you about why it's okay to be a monster. So, what is a monster? Okay, Google says it's just an imaginary creature that is typically ugly, large, or frightening. And honestly, that definition isn't wrong, but it feels very deflating in my opinion. I'm sure you all had a movie when we were kids that had us scared witless and sometimes crying or just not wanting to sleep in the dark, with the light on in the corner, that little night light that everyone had. And me personally, I hated movies with really good costume designers when I was younger, and especially scary movies because they would look so real and it would honestly terrify me. I remember having nightmares roughly a week after watching Resident Evil for the first time and seeing this huge zombie that freaks me out so much. I don't know why I thought it would be a good idea to watch that movie when I was like 7, maybe 8. The effects were so good, and I didn't want to think about this monster as being real. It would be better if it was fake, if the image was faker, if it didn't look as realistic and was just on TV, where it couldn't get to me, where it could stay away and not bother me, and I didn't have to think about it. Now, while an imaginary, ugly, and frightening creature isn't a bad way to define a monster, that kind of definition feels as if it barely scratches the surface as to what a monster truly represents. And just looking at history, we can find tons of examples of monsters being just people. I mean, we all know monsters come in all shapes and sizes, and they aren't just frightening and ugly imaginary creatures, but they could also be just normal human beings. Diving deeper into the definition, you can find that a monster is often a type of grotesque creature whose appearance frightens and whose powers of destruction threaten the human world's social or moral order. This definition feels warmer to me and what I'm trying to get at. And it's at another important point. Monster threatens the human world's social or moral order. They shake things up for people. They don't just stick to the norm or stay in the lines, but instead they abandon the norm and they blur the lines of the box. They don't necessarily have to break the world's order, but there's that ever-present threat of it happening, all due to a monster's power. And they aren't just creatures in books and movies. Scarily enough, they can be just regular people. I mean, just really, 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 really scary people. I don't know. Maybe 60 or 100 years ago, it would be way easier to define what a monster is. Like, a monster was the worst bad guys in the movies. They were the killer, the murderer, the werewolf, the vampire or freak, the person with the eye patch and torch room, right? Like, there were beings that did things most people would be too terrified to do, or they were just simply too cruel. And through either their appearance or just their power, they would terrify others and cause fear or unease. That's what monsters were. When a person is cruel and shows an extreme lack of passion or empathy, don't we also call them a monster? Maybe the better term for them may be villain, but who knows? Though defining these people used to be very simple, on one side of things, you would have a monster that would destroy your hope, make you scared, make you feel weak, broken, or terrified. And then the person who opposed and reversed much of that was a hero. Now, hero, defined by Google, is a person who is admired or idealized for courage, outstanding achievements, or noble qualities. They're the soldier coming home from a war, or the doctor that saved countless lives, or even the basketball player who inspired millions around the world. The hero is the person who inspires, and is a thing people look up to and idealize. The word comes from the Greek word heros. Don't quote me, I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly or not. It basically means either defender or protector. And I believe that it's become so powerful to human society because heroes defend and protect our order. They protect our social norms or structures and defend against things that threaten it. This is what would differentiate a hero from a monster, but at the same time, it requires power. A person can't protect or defend what's precious to them and themselves without the necessary power to fight back against whatever threatens it. Looking back in time for myself, heroes are what helped me the most as a child. And just growing up, I remember watching all of these TV shows and movies that just had superheroes or characters trying to do something good. My favorite Power Rangers series were Power Rangers Dino Thunder, Ninja Storm, and SPD. These were the golden age of Hasbro heroes to me, and they were the only legitimate Halloween costume I ever wore as well. Yeah, 8-year-old me wore the red SPD Ranger costume for one Halloween. Then I remember trying to get my mom to let me wear the suit again after Halloween because I liked it so much. Those blow-up muscles really made me feel on top of the world too as a kid. And, I remember the shows being cheesy and kind of stupid at times, but I didn't care about that as a kid. It didn't matter that the characters were acting and they were really oblivious sometimes. I didn't care about how obvious the villains were with their plans or how to defeat their minions. It was childish, but also honest and innocent and powerful. This is what a hero meant to me. They were the people in my life that I could look up to and be inspired by, who would make me feel powerful while trying to be like and imitate them. As a child, those characters built the foundation for how I understood what a hero was. And as I grew older, I noticed heroes in my everyday life. The people who inspired me and gave me this sense of power and admiration when thinking about them. One of the first heroes that I can remember and still think about today is my Uncle Batman. If you're wondering why we call him Uncle Batman, that's not really important, but he's always just been Uncle Batman to me. I still call him that today. He's also remained one of the biggest heroes in my life. He's remained inspirational to me and also powerful, respectable, and basically awe-inspiring because he just does things that I wouldn't expect from a normal person. He's been this way ever since I was a boy, and he just made things work and helps whenever I needed him. He was just this figure that I could look up to and be inspired by, be inspired to be like and imitate. Going back to what I mentioned before, that is what makes a hero. They are able to go beyond the ordinary. They go beyond what's expected and normal, but in a way that just makes them seem even more human than a normal human. Now, see, a hero and a monster aren't as different as you would think. While some people would say the line between them is wide, and the distinction as simple as black and white, I believe that the line is actually quite thin. And the distinction is more complex, and it's like hues of gray. A monster and a hero are just two sides of the exact same coin. They represent and embody qualities that go beyond what's normal. A monster represents qualities that are lacking of human emotion or thought, lacking things like empathy, compassion, love, or goodness. These are things that bad people also lack and represent. But if a child is getting bullied in school, is the bully a monster or are they simply bad? Well, I know some people wouldn't mind calling these kids monsters. I've seen my fair share of rowdy children before. I think it's more accurate to just say they're being bad. But once that lack of emotion and care goes on for long enough, once they're bad for long enough, the potential of a monster is now solidified. You let a bully stay a bully their entire life and they become a monster as time goes on. It becomes harder and harder for them to notice the difference between what's simply bad and what's actually far worse. Going on, a hero embodies characteristics and qualities that are almost superhuman. Things like compassion, justice, honor, love, goodness. These are what you attribute to a hero. Another kid's example. If someone stands up to the bully in place of the child being bullied, are they the hero or simply good? While many may like to say they're the hero, I think the child is just being good. They're doing what anyone should do when seeing someone get bullied, aren't they? But while anyone can stand up to the child, anyone can stand up to the bully. I mean, only one child actually does. Why? Well, that's just the cage we call society and what we call normal. It's because as a society, we live in a crowd, and this crowd doesn't like hiccups. We're like schools of fish swimming together, and we're driven by what's sadly normal and ordinary. Everyone is keeping their own space and moving together with one another, and it becomes so hard to break out of this gathering or just simply leave. A normal child wouldn't bully, nor would they stand up to the bully. They would just move with the crowd and mind their own. Normal effectively becomes a poison when it seems to cage and limit so many people. Yet it also enables people to become either a monster or a hero. What's normal is just a cage. It's a habitat in which people live in, but only the monsters of society, only the heroes of society can break out and free themselves from it. But isn't that exciting though? Like just the thought of breaking out of a cage, surpassing a limit, doing more, becoming free. Let me ask you a question. What is a monster to you? What type of person would you call a monster? Are they a bully, a narcissist, a manipulator maybe? Well, those may be right. Did you ever think about the person who simply works harder than anyone else around them? Do they ever strike you as monsters? The business tycoons, the multimillionaires of the world, the tech moguls. What about the person who works nearly 20 hours a day and hardly sleeps at night, focusing just on the job they have and what they do? The person who is working out in the gym every day for hours on end, trying to get the body they want, but neglecting hanging out with their friends or socializing. What about the girl who's working on her clothing line while also getting a bachelor's and holding down a job, but again, not having time to socialize or make friends? I think the term used for people like these is beasts, but you might also refer to them as being monsters. I think generally we have to get used to being looser with how we use the term monster, the word, because it's not always a bad or terrible thing. The people doing what no one else is doing and working harder than anyone expects of them, and who are doing whatever they can for themselves and their future, for their reasons and passions, they're monsters. And they're also growing into heroes at the exact same time. Like I said before, they're two sides of the exact same coin. And as I've been building up in this, a monster is just someone that goes beyond what's expected of a normal person. They don't stay in that typical and ordinary zone, but they break out of it and stay out of that zone. They live out of that zone. Both heroes and monsters live in areas where normal does not apply to them, and normal can't apply to what they do. A hero is just a superhuman human, and a monster is just a being lacking some human feelings. Now, overall, the message that I'm trying to convey to you, whoever is listening to this or just checking it out, wherever you are in life or position you are at socially, it's okay to be a monster. No, more than that, you should want to be a monster. If you have a place you want to reach in life, for a lot of people, it'll be something like success. It's financial freedom. It's family. It's a job and career. It's fulfillment. Wherever you want to go, sometimes it'll be necessary to become a beast, to be a monster, and really work for your goal. A video that I watched just a few days ago while trying to research material for this recording sums up what I was thinking about very well. Jordan Peterson, he has a lot of videos online, but one video is titled, "The Hero Has to Be a Monster." And what he says is, well, if you're harmless, you're not virtuous, you're just harmless. You're like a rabbit. A rabbit isn't virtuous. It just can't do anything except get eaten. It's not virtuous. If you're a monster and you don't act monstrously, then you're virtuous, but you also have to be a monster. He then brings up Harry Potter as an example, and then Batman as well, and he says the hero has to be a monster, but a controlled monster. Going off of his video, it really got me thinking, about potential and lifestyle and overall what exactly I valued. Personally, I'm the type of person that values knowledge and understanding, being prepared and having the potential to do more. I like expanding my own vessel, my mind, the limits, understanding my own limits, understanding the limits of the world. Like, is it better to be a warrior in a garden or a gardener in war? Is it better to never know darkness or know it and turn away? I think that in life, ignorance is seriously overrated. It robs people of a chance to dive deeper and to really look at the world. It takes away their opportunity to see a new perspective. A hero that's never done wrong, never known wrong, never done a single bad thing in their life, who's never fallen before. I can't trust that. I don't trust that. I can't believe in that. That's a hero in image, but not at heart. I would much rather trust the man that's fallen 1,000 times and walked through the valley of despair and got out of that than the man that has never known pain, suffering, or sadness and only sees the light in the world while never acknowledging the worst things, the hard things, and the real things. In that sense, I want to become a monster. I'll say it with my chest right now. I want to be a monster. I want you to know that it's okay to be one too. Trials and tribulations are what define people. Pain is the ultimate builder of character. And it's the universal constant for us all. You can either let it break you or you can let it build you up. Let it blind you or simply open your eyes. You can let it turn you into a dark monster or develop you into a true hero. Okay, and whatever you choose is up to you, but I say be a monster. Live as a monster before becoming a hero. Don't be ignorant, but fight ignorance. Learn, live, love, see. Do what you can today. Do it with a passion. Do it with all of your passion. Do it with so much passion that people don't know where it's coming from anymore. Do it until you feel the thrill and the excitement in your body. If you're going to start a project, take a step forward, set your goal, and attack every obstacle in your way. Okay? And don't just have the image of a hero. Earn the heart of one as well. And you do that. You earn that heart by living as a monster and controlling who you are. And also overcoming every obstacle, setback, and challenge in your way. By learning, by living, by doing, by being in the now, being in this moment. I think more than anything, heroes, like I said before, they helped me the most as a child. And I'm still childish in a lot of ways. I still love watching cartoons and anime. I have Danny Phantom saved on my Hulu watch list. Just that folder in the background. I'm like, okay, I can watch this. But I don't. Because I remember the show still, even now, as a 20-year-old, about to turn 21 in December. I remember almost every episode and every challenge Danny went through. I remember how he grew as a character and how he developed as a person in the show as well. I admired that. In every show that I watched, I admired the journey the hero had to go through. And I never trusted a hero that never went through that journey, that never went through some form of trial, some challenge, I respected them, sure. A hero's a hero at the end of the day, but it's too easy. Watch who you call your heroes. Watch who you let be heroes in your life. Don't just let them have the image, but check, double check, triple check that they have the heart of one as well. That they know what it means. And they're okay. Because it's never easy being a hero. It's a tough road. It's a difficult road. But I've always wanted to walk that road. I've loved the idea of the challenge. And ever since I was young, I remember telling my mom, I just love the challenge. I'm a curious kid. I want to learn. I want to do. I want to see. And now in college as a sophomore, about to turn junior. I'm able to live, learn, and love more than ever before. It's just crazy being here in this moment, to be honest. I've thought about making a podcast for years now, talking to my friends about current events, politics, philosophy, books, movies, comic books, anime, music, But I've always held myself back. I've always been scared of that monster. I never wanted to become the monster. I've always wanted to be a hero since I was young, and it's terrified me. The thought of being a quote unquote monster, It's that thought that, oh, a monster is terrible, a monster is wrong, a monster is all these negative things in the world, a monster is evil almost. And I always felt that the more I try to be a hero, the deeper I went into becoming a monster in a sense. I couldn't become more of a hero without becoming more of a monster at the exact same time, and I never wanted to accept it. I never wanted to accept that challenge. I never wanted to accept that reality. But lately I've been meditating a lot. And one of the core pieces of my meditation style is peace. I have to work on peace, being at peace. And peace is simple. Peace is simply acceptance. Peace is being. It's identifying the things in my life that I love and I don't love, the things that I see are my strengths and my weaknesses. Peace is very objective. A monster and a hero can be the same thing. They're just two sides of the same coin. I've finally accepted that. I want to be a hero, but on my journey to becoming a hero, I have to be a monster at the same time. And they're one and the same. It's not bad, it's beautiful to me. It's invigorating. I don't know if you could just feel it. Sometimes there's an excitement. If you've ever played a sport, if you've ever done something with a passion, and it's been an honest passion, maybe even a childish passion, you feel that sense of excitement. Just your heart's pumping. Your blood is running a little bit, Your senses are they feel turned up to another notch, another level, and you're just ready to go. You're ready to do, you're ready to be. When I was playing sports in high school, that's the feeling that I got so many times. And I always watched that feeling my first 2 years, freshman and sophomore year. I was always watching that feeling because it was exciting. It was exciting to feel turned up a notch, running faster than I would normally run, doing things that I normally wouldn't do, feeling stronger than I normally was. I'm not gonna lie. In my freshman year, I was a pretty skinny kid. I wasn't the strongest. I wasn't the tallest. I was maybe above average, but I wasn't the best. But when I was on the basketball court, when I was on the volleyball court, there were so many moments where I just felt bigger than I really was. I just felt like a monster, and sometimes I would just want to shout. Volleyball gave me that opportunity. Volleyball gave me that opportunity to shout a lot. I know if any of my teammates listen to this, they will remember the moments in that sport where I was screaming my head off after every block, every hit, before the game started, hyping the team up for coming out of the gym. I remember the moments, and they were beautiful. I loved them so much. I loved that excitement. I loved that feeling. I loved the potential of being an actual monster in those moments and on those courts in the gym. It didn't feel wrong. It didn't feel evil. It just was. It was power. Sometimes it's okay to be a monster. You just need to work, be passionate, commit, and honestly commit. Do whatever you have to do to get where you want to go, get where you need to go. Do it in a way where you will feel proud of yourself the day before. The day after, I mean. If you need to work out, go work out. If you need to submit some papers, go submit some papers. If you have a business idea that you've been putting off for weeks now, like this for me, go do it. Go try. There's nothing wrong with trying out a little bit, you know? Set aside maybe 5 minutes right now to say, okay, I'm going to think about this for 5 minutes, write something down. I'm going to set aside an hour and work on it some more. There's nothing wrong. There's absolutely nothing wrong with doing what you have to do to get where you want to go in life, where you need to be in life. There's nothing wrong with being a monster. There's absolutely nothing wrong. It's a beautiful thing if you let it be. As long as you let the journey take its course, it won't let you down. You just need to keep walking, keep moving forward, keep being a monster, keep grinding. Get back out there. Do a few more sets. Read a little bit more. Get your business going. Listen to that music. Get yourself in the game. Get yourself in that headspace. Look yourself in the eye and commit to yourself. Be a monster for you. It's your life to live. So go live it.